After the Minnesota Timberwolves pulled off an upset win in Game 1 of their series against the Memphis Grizzlies this past Saturday, the Grizzlies made it immediately clear that they were going to be out for revenge in Game 2 on Tuesday night. And after their near 30-point win last night, I want to break down what the Grizzlies showed off that truly shows how scary this team is. What's up, guys? SCJ here, and if you enjoyed today's video, then make sure to give it a like as it helps out a lot. And if you're new to the channel and or enjoy the NBA, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. So as mentioned in the intro, the Grizzlies got themselves a near 30-point win over the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 2 of their first-round series last night, as the Grizzlies won by a score of 124-96. That score would have you thinking that this game was lopsided from the tip-off, but the Grizzlies only held a 5-point lead with 5.5 minutes remaining in the first half, and I want to show how the Grizzlies and head coach Taylor Jenkins adjusted and exactly what they did that shows how scary they are and how potent their offense truly is. So like mentioned just before, the T-Wolves are doing a great job of fighting off the Grizzlies early in the contest, as this example right here is some really good defense from the Wolves in the early portion of the first quarter. There's a great switch to take away the off-ball action. Once Ja comes off the screen, Cat is back, but he sticks with Ja and Vanderbilt holds and closes to Jaren Jackson. These are the shots that the Grizzlies have to hit, and Minnesota was able to take it away. Right here is another example of the great defense by Minnesota early. As you can see, Cat is in a drop and the space is there, and Cat's versatility allows him to stop Brooks on the dribble pull-up off the Adams screen. Memphis and head coach Taylor Jenkins knew Minnesota's versatility was going to make it tough for them, and it could have been a repeat of Game 1 if they didn't get creative, so that's exactly what they did. Memphis went with the Clarke and Morant pick and roll. As you can see, Clarke can get up there to set the screen quicker than a typical big could, and Cat has to work to get up, and now has to work to contain the drive, and can't stop Morant without fouling him. The early portion of this game felt like a foul fest early, but this was the first Memphis defensive possession where it felt like they started to find their defensive groove. Bane sets the tone by fighting over the top of the screen, and then you can see the help and recover and activity here. The Grizzlies need these type of defensive possessions as they're a young team and they can do this all night if they want to. Right after that though, the Grizzlies just couldn't contain Cat as he wouldn't go away quietly, as right here, the Grizzlies switched this screen and there's a good adjustment to set a flare for Cat, and he does what he's done all series, and that's kill Memphis downhill. Cat went back to what worked for him in Game 1 as he takes Anderson to the post, splits the double, and finished with what looked like it was ease for him. Right here, Minnesota kept playing great D, but Memphis stayed creative. Here it looks like Cat will be in a pick and roll, and they switch from the corner to get someone else involved. Clarke had the ability to slip out though, and he drew the foul against the help. Similar to how I mentioned in my recent video about the Raptors, over-helping doesn't work for every team, and this was an example from Memphis, as they over-help, but helping off Edwards really isn't smart whatsoever, and it bites Memphis in the behind here. Even with how much Minnesota was answering back at everything Memphis threw at them, Memphis showed they can't answer back this. Here's a great setup and pass from Morant. You can notice he rejects the screen and Tillman comes down lower and then he comes off. As you can see here, two guys on the ball is tough when the screen is set lower because the big is already at the basket and help doesn't have the time to get there. Tillman continued screening under the three-point line, which put pressure on the Wolves' defensive scheme. Brook making these plays in the handoff or pick and roll is huge, as it seems the T-Wolves haven't been locked in versus these guys compared to how they're locked in versus Ja on these plays. Memphis really started to hit the three ball late in the second quarter though, as Morant was drawing the double like you can see here, and Jaren Jackson was having a solid night, and his ability to stretch the floor helped. As you can see, Reed has to quickly leave the paint to contest, but it's too late. Memphis doing more of this will only hurt teams the rest of the playoffs. Brandon Clarke seemed to be the right guy to have on Ant Edwards opposed to Kyle Anderson like shown earlier, as Clarke showed nice activity as he stays down, contains, and contests his three ball by Edwards. When Jackson wasn't shooting threes though, and Memphis couldn't hit the threes, Jackson would surprise you with something like this. But they didn't need Jackson to do that often, as Bane started to come into a rhythm as he hits this incredible step back triple here with Reed on him. While I said Clarke did a fine job of guarding Edwards, Memphis didn't care about switching when they had Jaren Jackson in at the center position, and safe to say, the results Memphis got weren't bad at all. While Bane missed this shot, I think the Grizzlies need to do more of this against Cat with Bane, as Bane is a lethal shooter and won't miss many of these shots, plus you can see the space he has coming off this flare. Memphis also started figuring something out that they couldn't figure out in Game 1, and that's the ways to get Ja the necessary space to get downhill, and Ja's body control here is incredible as he has Towns in a blender. Jaren Jackson at the 5 also allowed the Towns pick and roll to turn into an automatic switch, which worked out for Coach Jenkins to counter Minnesota's offensive game plans. Coach Jenkins continued to counter Minnesota as we saw Minnesota switch Cat out of the pick and roll early on this play, and Ja sees it and immediately skips to Bane, who drives the closeout. Right here, even with his team down big, Towns showed off why he's going to continue to hurt Memphis all series long. Towns screens for Edwards and the Grizzlies switch. Towns stays in the middle of the floor because the double's coming and he goes down to hit the shot. If Towns varies in what he does, Memphis will continue to have issues with him for the whole series, but as if the game wasn't already over, right here, this was the true dagger of the night from Jaren Jackson. But Memphis' game plan against Towns has to be putting Jaren Jackson at the 5 long term, as even though Towns wasn't in the game here, Jackson showed off how dangerous he is at the 5 as he can space the floor, and Clarke forces Reed to help on him on the drive, then kicks to Jackson for the 3 ball, and that was basically the end of the game there. So clearly Memphis is a scary team, as you could see last night, and the way they adjusted to Minnesota when they threw adjustments at them was a sign of a great coach in Taylor Jenkins. And while Monte Williams will probably go down as the Coach of the Year winner this year, I personally thought Jenkins should have won it for what he's done with this Memphis team. I still think the Warriors are the team to look out for in terms of coming out of the West, especially if Jordan Poole continues to give them performances like he has in the first 2 games of the playoffs. But man, if Coach Jenkins has the Grizzlies executing great plays and a great game plan, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up somehow making it to the finals. This young Memphis team and the potency of their offense is truly scary for opposing teams, and last night was another example of how dangerous this team could truly be if they're all clicking together. Anyway guys, I want to know what you guys think about this Grizzlies team, any of their players, or anything we talked about in this video down below in the comment section. If you like the video, then make sure to give it a like as it helps out a lot. And if you're new to the channel and or enjoy the NBA, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. That way you stay up to date with all the newest content on my channel. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm SCJ and I am out. Peace.